Hey everyone, welcome back to King Drippy Games. Today is a special day because I have already put about 120 hours into Monster Hunter Wilds, and let me tell you, it's been a lot of fun. So much fun. And I feel that because of my experience with Monster Hunter World and Rise, I understood the systems of this game and I knew what I needed to put a lot of my energy in. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to actually share some of the tips that got me along the way. I think these tips are going to be really important for beginners that want to get into the game and don't want to deal with frustration, and also don't want to feel like confusion about what to do next, because that can happen in games that have a lot of systems like this. And it's like, what monster should I kill? What armor set should I go for? What decoration should I go for? What jewels should I go for? Which weapon should I choose? So there's a lot of questions that come to a player that's, coming to this series for the first time, and it can be very intimidating. And what this video is aiming to do is give you some tips to walk you along the way and hold your hand a little bit. It's not going to take away from the experience, really. It's just going to help you navigate the game like an expert. So these are the tips that I found were most helpful. I hope that they are helpful to you. And yeah, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Thank you for dropping by. Welcome to King Drippy Games. Let's begin. Okay, so let's start with the field guide. This is most likely one of the most important tools in your kit. You access it from pressing start and go over 3 tabs, and it's going to say Monster Field Guide. In here, you can see all the monsters that you have discovered. Once you click on a monster, you can see their weaknesses, and then you can also see the attacks that they use. So this can help you better prepare for the fight. As well as you can see all of the materials that you will gain from slaying this monster. Some monsters have rewards just for slaying them in general with the guild's approval, and then other monsters have carvable parts after slaying them. You can also see the various percentages of the likelihood for you to get those parts. So utilizing this field guide is extremely crucial, and it'll save you a lot of frustration. So the next thing that you're going to want to also pay close attention to is wish listing items. So when you're talking to the blacksmith, you might say to yourself, oh my gosh, that armor set looks sick, or I really want that. Okay, what I used to do is I used to try to memorize what I needed in my head and then go back and look for the monster that had it. Save yourself the headache, save yourself the trouble. All you need to do is press triangle on whatever the armor set that you want and then add it to the wish list. Once you've done that, there is going to be a yellow pin that is going to show up for every part of the monster that you need, or any collectible that you need to get that item. So wish listing is going to be absolutely crucial if you want to make your grind for materials a lot more pleasant. Not to mention, whenever you're out in the field and you're actually getting those materials, you're gonna hear like a ba-ding, 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 because you're getting those items. So there is this satisfaction loop where every time you get a wish listed item, you know about it. So please use this feature. This feature saved me so much time and frustration, and it just made the game a whole lot more enjoyable. Next, I would advise that you prepare your pouch. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out on a hunt and I forgot that I needed health potions, or I needed raw meat to cook up, or I needed shock traps. Do yourself a favor and take the extra minute to 2 minutes and prepare your pouch, craft any items that you need. That way when you're out in the field, you don't get stuck in the middle of a fight with your pants down. Okay? This part is really fun. Here, we're gonna be cooking steak. Now, the cool thing about steak is when you cook it, there's actually kind of like a mini game that plays with a song, and it is very fun and cheerful. You want to make steak with your raw meat because it actually will enhance the amount of health that you have upon eating it. So having well done steaks and matching the game always is a good idea to do. So once I learn how to do this, I never go on a hunt without some fresh steaks to prepare.
Doesn't look half bad.
Another vital feature that I feel like a lot of people ignore is the Radial menu. and the customization of it. So there's so many items in this game. So you also have like your emotes, you have your features like an SOS to, ask other people to join your hunt. So there's a lot of items to manage, a lot of, actions to manage. One way to handle the chaos is with this Radial menu. With this Radial menu, by pressing the start button, you can go into there and you can customize it. It gives you 8 different slots, and in those slots you can have up to 12 individual customizations. So that ranges from health, stake, traps, you name it. This gives you a total of 96 different options to essentially hotkey on this menu. This menu is pretty easy to manage too while you're out in the field. You just hold down L1 and then you can kind of direct your analog stick to which one you want to use, and then you can use the other analog stick to kind of choose what item you want to use. Once it's a little awkward in the beginning, but once you get used to it, you're going to be very thankful because you're going to go out there prepared. You can also make loadouts of these different Radial menus. So if you have a certain setup that works better for certain situations, you can do that. So yeah, this is a really powerful feature that I think is very worth your while to explore, and it'll make hunting a lot more fun and a lot easier to manage. Okay, so this next part is actually really awesome. Okay, this is the decoration system. When you're out in the field, you have the opportunity to gain jewels from other creatures. As you're upgrading your armor will have jewel slots. This is where you put those decorations. These decorations are going to range anywhere from electric resistance, paralysis resistance, even like being able to drink your health potion quicker. And one of my favorites is the earplug. Each one of these is going to have a different level to it. So you have level 1, level 2, level 3. Sometimes you can go all the way up to 5. If you look over to the right here on the screen, right next to each decoration, it'll show you what that decoration does at which level. So this is how you can start to kind of min-max your build. It's not complicated at all, but if you ignore this system, you're going to be missing out on a lot. As you can see in the bottom right, it'll show you how some of these actually will affect my stats on my armor. So say if I'm weak in fire resistance, I can apply a jewel that is fire resistant. So then that will go up. So you don't have to always switch out your armor sets if it doesn't have what you need. Sometimes you can use the decorations to give the armor set that extra boost that you need, because as we know, if you match sets of armor, there are other abilities that you can get. Like for example, you can see equipment skills there. Okay, you have constitution and antivirus there. Okay, that is a benefit, a skill of the armor set. Okay, so when you start to match your armor sets, then you'll go from level 1 flinch free to level 2 to level 3. So matching your armor sets is also going to play a big role. So when you're at the blacksmith, there's a lot that you can do. So don't forget, check your decorations, upgrade your armor so you can get jewel slots, and then make sure to match your armor sets. So since we're on the topic of decorations, later in the game, about halfway through, once you gain access to Wyveria, you're going to encounter an old woman, okay? And she is going to help you meld decorations. So this is your opportunity to now create your own decorations. I'm sure you're wondering like, okay, like why do I have all these items just packing up in my back and I don't know what to do with this stuff. I don't even need some of this stuff. Like some of these rewards that I'm earning on these missions, like I don't need everything. What am I supposed to do with it? This is your opportunity. So any monster parts that you don't need, any certificates that you don't need, you can actually use those to create your own decorations. So say, you're looking for some extra fire resistance, right? Or say you're looking for those earplugs that you can use. Well, here's your opportunity to actually get those things without farming them. You can just use monster parts, like gems, monster gems, to create these items. So as you can see, there's certain things that actually will have a higher value. So if you want to make an attack jewel, okay, so the attack jewel is actually worth 1 point. So you can even use jewels to make other jewels. Okay, so that's how this system works. It's actually really, really useful when you're wanting to mid-max. So yeah, definitely highly recommend going to Wyveria. if you're trying to, create a jewel that you don't have, check here. You might be able to do it here without farming for it. So it's super useful stuff. Okay, up next we're gonna have our artesian weapons. This is definitely gonna come in later game, but this is how you're gonna actually create your own weapons to also kind of help min-max your build so you can create exactly what you're looking for. You get the parts to make these weapons by slaying tempered monsters. Once you slay those monsters, they're gonna give you various parts, like for instance, broken blade, rusted device, broken tube. Those are all weapon parts that come from prior battles of that tempered creature. When you take these items to the blacksmith, if you match the level and you match the element, then you can get very powerful weapons. And then these weapons can actually further be enhanced. So artesian weapons are definitely an end game activity, but it's really easy to do and it encourages hunting tempered creatures. Okay, next up, what's super important is before you go out on a hunt, like I was saying, you want to cook your steaks and stuff, but you want to actually prepare a meal. The cool thing about preparing a meal is it can give you lots of buffs right off the bat. Like one of those being element resistance. It can boost your defense. It'll increase your health. It'll increase your stamina. But it all depends on the ingredients that you use. So you can make these meals just by using your rations, or you can do a custom meal to kind of dial in what you're looking for. Make sure to read at the very bottom what each ingredient does, because sometimes there's monsters where it doesn't apply. If you're hunting in the desert, you don't need a mushroom or a shrimp that's going to help you ward off the hot or the cold. It doesn't apply. So just make sure that you're paying attention and you're reading, but preparing a meal before you go out on a hunt is always smart. And depending on the ingredients that you use, they can have an effect on the buffs that you're getting, and can just make your overall hunt a far more pleasurable experience. Okay, so it's time to talk about those mounts, okay? Your sacred. They're very important. Don't just ride them to get from point A to point B. You should be using these things in combat. First off, they can help you get away from a dangerous situation. You can heal while you're on them. You can even sharpen your weapon while you're on them. And then above most, you can jump off your mount to land a grapple attack on a monster. So do not discount your mount. They are very powerful and you should be using them when you're in combat, okay? So speaking of things that you also should be using in combat, it's your mantles. So you will get new mantles as the game progresses, but the first one that I think is very important is the ghillie mantle. This one completely disguises you from the monsters and allows you to kind of dance around them as you please. What I always use this one for actually is to sneak up on a monster in the beginning of a fight. It gives me a nice satisfying feeling, and then I get to do some big damage right on the get-go. And then next I like to use the armor mantle. It's called Rock Solid. This will pretty much negate lots of damage taken in the beginning and prevent you from getting knocked back. So it's something that I like to always have, and you should always be using it. Not to mention, like I said, when you're riding the sacred, you can actually equip your mantles. So use the sacred to get out of a sticky situation, heal yourself, and put a mantle on. Believe me, you'll thank me later. Okay, so what you need to do now is make sure to look out for your environment. Okay, there's lots of tools that'll be at your disposal in the environment, such as traps, maybe even gates, as you just saw, and then also environmental changes where you can even create cover from a dangerous blow. So your environment is your friend, so make sure to pay attention to it, okay? Sometimes you might find yourself in a poopy situation. And in these times, use your dung pods or your poop pods. What they'll do is they'll deter the monster that might be getting in the way of your fight, and they're gonna fly away or they're gonna be severely irritated. So definitely use the poop. And poop's all over the place. So if you don't bring it in your pack, you can always find it lying around. So yeah, get some poop, yeah? Alright, so lastly, as you probably know, you are going to need armor spheres to upgrade your gear. But what you might not be paying attention to is that in the oil basin, you can actually create armor spheres. So just like before when it came to the jewels decorations, right? You need more of those to get stronger. Okay, you need those to upgrade yourself. And then you're always going to end up with lots of extra monster parts that you might not need to upgrade your gear. Well, use those monster parts to create armor spheres, okay? The gems usually will have the best yield. So if there's ever something that you want to farm just so you can upgrade your favorite gear, then by all means farm the gems. And then any other spare monster parts that you don't need, you can use those to create these armor spheres, and bada bing, bada boom. Alright, so you probably already know this, but just in case, if you lay a trap down, you can pick it back up. If your Palico lays a trap down, he can also, or she can also, pick it back up. So don't worry about it. It's also a really cool detail. I love watching that animation. And then on top of this, don't ever be afraid to use traps. Use them as much as you can because you can pick them back up, okay? Okay, so if you got it this far, thank you. And this is the last tip that I think is important. Make sure to equip your Palico. Depending on whether you want to do, blunt damage or for KOs, or you want to do sever damage to not decapitate, but remove a limb or a tail from a monster. It's really important to also take care of your Palico because they are doing damage. At the same time, you're going to want to do any Palico side missions. Whenever the Palico, says, hey, come over here, I need your help, please go. Do the side mission. Your Palico will gain abilities that will help you in combat. Some of them being extremely crucial if you're about to die. I won't spoil it for you. But yes, definitely do those missions and take care of your Palico. They also, they're there and they're there to help you. So thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, I really appreciate it. I'm not a Monster Hunter professional by any means, but knowing these features in the game definitely helped up my game and make it just an enjoyable experience. So I hope it's very helpful. All right, have a good one, guys. Peace.